So I just heard an hour ago from the, we call the NOC, he's non-official cover aerospace intelligence community, a senior operator from one of the key black sites, two black sites out in the western United States. And they are preparing to do this next week. I don't have an exact date. They intend to not only provide their testimony of operations, he's been there almost 30 years, but also the evidence and other details. Now, he's been involved in two things.
We could be getting some fantastic, basically disclosure within the next 10 days, which is absolutely insane. All right, so this comes from none other than Dr. Stephen Greer. So, of course, Dr. Stephen Greer is a very well-reputed person within the whistleblowing community. He's one of the OG whistleblowers, right, when it comes to this kind of thing. He worked allegedly at Area 51, and he basically has trailblazed the way for whistleblowers. Now, he's gone on an interview with Newsmax, right, which has been shared by Patrick over at Vetted, that YouTube channel, because you could only watch this live. So there's no other way of kind of catching this up unless you watch it through Vetted's YouTube channel. So it's well worth a watch over on his channel. Go and check him out. But yeah, let's just see what Dr. Stephen Greer's got to say, because this could be absolutely enormous.
Founder of the Disclosure Project, Dr. Greer has been consistent with us for weeks that there is a disclosure coming before the presidential inauguration, which now leaves us with 10 days. Dr. Greer, it's great to have you back. This is where we are right now. A flight crew on a commercial airplane recorded this large orb in the skies while they were at 17,000 feet. And now people, we mentioned this a week ago, are reportedly getting sick all over the world from this granular, mysterious fog that's being seen all over the place. Right. Does this disclosure happen next week? And if it does, how does it happen? When it starts happening, how will we know?
Well, it'll be all over the news, and it's good to see you again.
This is crazy. There's a fog going around. I haven't heard about this. This is the first time I'm literally hearing about this. I've been quite out of the loop recently. There's a fog that's causing people to be sick. This is...
Or ago from the, we call the NOC, he's non-official cover aerospace intelligence community, a senior operator from one of the key black sites, two black sites out in the western United States. And they are preparing to do this next week. I don't have an exact date. They intend to not only provide their testimony of operations, he's been there almost 30 years, but also the evidence and other details. Now, he's been involved in two things. One is the testing and the surveillance of the man-made UAPs that have been manufactured out of the Lockheed Skunk Works and Northrop Grumman complexes out in the high desert. Okay. The other is the targeting of non-human craft. Some would say extraterrestrial, some say alien. The words they're using now is NHI, non-human intelligence, and the downing of those objects. So he's been intimately involved. I've been at his facility, and that is on track. Now, keep in mind, so much of what is being seen now is sort of a decoy false flag operation, sort of trying to intercept what he's going to be doing and what we've been doing for some time.
But there's no way, Dr. Greer, we've talked about there's no way all of this can be a false flag. It's all over the world now. It's being seen over cities in India, cities in South Korea. It's just the coordination that would be required to do something like that. I think it's beyond the scope, unless there is something going on that I'm completely unaware of, which of course is a possibility. 3 questions, these are just yes or no's.
I mean, this is the thing, right? These things are going on literally across the globe, across the planet, right? We've got, over the UK, 100% we've seen these things over, well, New Jersey especially, but other parts of like New York and other parts of America. South America's seeing it, parts of Asia like they listed there, like with South Korea and also with India. You know, like this, and also across Europe as well. Poland, I think, had some things going on. Germany's seen it. You know, this is very widespread. This isn't just like in this space.
Are aliens already here? Yes or no?
Oh, sure. I mean, there have been non-human extraterrestrial civilizations that have been observing the planet for thousands of years, and it increased remarkably once we detonated the first atomic bomb. There's no question about that. In fact, this particular team coming forward have dealt with the remains and on occasion living non-human life forms that have been downed, and some are still in captivity in subterranean facilities or STIFs.
I'm sorry, what? Come again, Mr. Stephen Greer? Like, that is a very bold claim to make. That is very, very bold claim to make. But, you know, I can't imagine he'd do it without some form of, like, without having a, like, you know, it being warranted. You know what I mean?
To me, Dr. Greer, feels like, and you answered my other question, it feels like right now the public worldwide is being primed for something. You know,
Yes,
for the last 50 years, we've had movies about aliens. Going back to Roswell, we've had reports of flying saucers. And now people, not just in northern New Jersey, are seeing strange things in the sky. It seems like these beings are technologically far superior than we are. And they're doing this with incredible patience, priming a worldwide audience for something else. Do you agree with that? And then what are they priming us for?
Well, it's very complex, but the bottom line it is they've been waiting for humans to acknowledge their presence so that they don't have to force into it, which could look aggressive. Because they're not aggressive, obviously.
Force into it like land in Times Square, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do something like that. They're going to do a sort of an acculturation and desensitization operation.
What does that mean?
I don't know, man. This is starting to lose me a little bit, right? Like, I love Dr. Stephen Greer. I think he's fantastic, but I don't know. This just doesn't feel right. Like, if this is the case, right? And I know humanity is a very weird species in the sense that we will just, like, anything that's, like, foreign to us, we will just put in captivity. But if these aliens, right, have got the decency to, like, wait and not just suddenly appear in Times Square with the whole, like, take me to your leader bullshit, and they're gonna, like, do it that way, then why have we got them in captivity? If they don't want to startle us and scare us and all the rest of it and come across as like a threat, then why are we treating them like a threat? Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't quite make sense to me.
What does that mean?
Which means it's gradual.
Okay.
And it has been over the decades. Now, the big problem here are rogue military-industrial complex operations that have reverse engineered these extremely advanced technologies and can use them in staged event. And this is where everyone, when I say everyone, I mean everyone from the generals that I had briefed at the Pentagon to director of the CIA, past, not incoming. And that is that they greatly underestimate what has been developed. I mean, Ben Rich, before he died, who was head of Lockheed Skunk Works, said, anything you can imagine that you've seen on Star Trek, we've already figured out, and it's out there in the desert. He says, not Area 51.
Okay.
Talking about
how far ahead of us? And the last time you were on, you said there are multiple different alien societies from different planets visiting us.
Right.
How far ahead of us are they?
At least 60 to 70 that have been documented.
I'm sorry, what? At least 60 to 70 different species from different planets of alien are visiting us at any one time. Or that have been documented, at least, throughout history. That's freaking insane. Like, I was expecting, like, just the Martian. You know, your bog standard Martian to rock up and it be like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. But no, apparently not. I'm wrong.
60 to 70.
That I know about, yes.
And how far, where are they technologically? 1,000 years ahead, 1,000,000 years ahead?
They'd be in the many thousands to millions of years more advanced, and there are different civilizations at different development, both socially, spiritually, and technologically. None of them are hostile, obviously. With the kind of technology they have, they would have, as Congressman Burchett once said, it would be a charcoal briquette floating through space if they were overtly hostile. But they appear to be very concerned with our own hostility and the development of very powerful weapons.
If they landed, Dr. Greer, could they communicate with us?
I mean, that does explain as to why, you know, like that these things are always allegedly being sighted over like nuclear bases, and over nuclear armed bases like RAF bases in the UK, DoD bases in the US, especially where like nuclear missiles are being homed. So, I mean, it is a grand theory that basically aliens are trying to stop us from blowing ourselves to smithereens, which, I mean, humble, I guess.
I'm sure they can. I mean, I don't know how that would exactly take place. It may be some strange. I mean, remember, one of the things that Elon Musk is working on at Neuralink is an interface between thought and machine.
Right, right.
And now, I will tell you.
I mean, surely Dr. Greer would know that they would be able to communicate with us, right? Because he's talking about how there's been contact in the past and stuff and all the rest of it, and how they're being, like, you know, held in captivity in subterranean places. So surely there has been a form of communication also to understand where they've come from, right? Or am I missing something here? Like, surely they have the ability to be able to communicate already. So I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of I don't know. I don't want to upset anyone, because I know a lot of people really like Stephen Greer and a lot of people really don't like Stephen Greer. But like, I just feel like this story's not quite adding up.
This is a big secret that's going to come out very quickly with this team, because they dealt with this, is that there is a direct interface between technology and consciousness and thought that's been developed by these advanced civilizations. This is not Ma Bell we're talking about here.
Wow.
In terms of communication. So
okay.
it's that's just a prelude. We don't have time to unpack that, but I know about that in a very specialized fashion.
Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon, Sea of Tranquility, 1969, Apollo 11. Over the decades, he hinted at several things. One's that aliens are living right now in bases on Antarctica and under the ocean. His words, not mine.
There was also his trip to Antarctica, where he allegedly saw something, and there was the recording of it, and then it all went really quiet.
The second, that the moon landing in 1969 never actually happened. The third, and most interesting, I think, is that on the dark side of the moon doesn't spin like the Earth. When they orbited in Apollo 11, they photographed and saw with their own eyes structures that clearly were built by somebody. Can you confirm or deny any of that?
I can absolutely confirm we did go to the moon, but when we went, we weren't alone, and that was known prior to the 1969 land.
Wait, did he say that's not known prior?
I can absolutely confirm we did go to the moon, but when we went, we weren't alone, and that was known prior to the 1969 moon landing, and I'll tell you why. If you go to our Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive, dpiarchive.com, you will see, and it's free to go there, you'll see the testimony of Carl Wolf, who in 1968 was at a National Security Agency relay station at Langley Air Force Base.
Carl Wolf was killed, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was killed. I mean, we've had a lot of losses.
Run over by a truck or something like that? Mysteriously?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, right, so you can see maybe there's a bit of credibility to his story then, right? Because, you know, he's spoken out about it, suddenly he's been taken out. This is fucking wild stuff, right? This interview is fucking wild. This is insane.
Okay. Dr. Greer, we're just very tight on time.
I was mysteriously almost killed about 14 months ago. But my point is that these, when they did the lunar orbiter, where they were mapping, where they were going to planning to land, there were these structures that were seen, and he came forward with that 25 years ago at the first Disclosure Project press conference in May of 2001. So we've known about this for some time, and he actually saw the images, the early digital photographs, and what have you of those structures. So we know that there's, this is all going to eventually come out.
Let me just ask you, we're so tight on time, Dr. Greer. The Las Vegas suicide bomber. So he wrote this manifesto that they're trying to suppress, like they do.
Before we get into the manifesto and stuff like that, there is a lot of information to try and sink in just from this one interview alone, right? So basically, I would love to have known what his, like, Dr. Stephen Greer's thoughts were on the expedition that Buzz Aldrin took to Antarctica, the tweets that he mysteriously made and then mysteriously deleted about seeing these crazy things in Antarctica. But structures on the dark side of the moon, we've got the landing and not being alone on the moon, and then we've got... It makes sense as to why we would never see these things, because obviously the dark side of the moon never faces Earth, because of just the way that the moon orbits the Earth. But this is... Wow. I don't know what to make of this. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi book.
Do with everything else. But it sort of ebbs into this world. Is there any connection just between what is going to happen next week and what we saw in Las Vegas on New Year's Day?
Correct. There is. And again, that was sort of a psychological warfare operation by someone in special forces giving a heads up on this. It's not a coincidence it happened at the Trump building and that it was in a Cybertruck. He refers to gravitic propulsion systems. And that's what's going to be coming out because we have mastered gravity control for decades. And this is why many of the craft people see that they think is alien.
And he wrote about that in the manifesto. Just a final question.
He did.
Following whatever happens next week, if it does happen, does Donald Trump need to appoint somebody like yourself as an alien czar or a UAP czar?
Well, this has been suggested. We'll see. I mean, of course, the president, you serve at his pleasure. As it is, I've been an unofficial advisor for many administrations on this. And now that this is going to be coming to a head, we'll see if he wants someone to do that. If I would certainly consider it if I was asked, but that has not happened.
Dr. Greer,
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I don't know what to say. Honestly, first of all, we need to see if this actually even comes to a head. It's not confirmed or denied that this is going to even be a thing. So, we have to take what's been said here with a pinch of salt because as politicians go, not just Trump, but as politicians go, a lot of promises are made. 95% of them aren't followed through, right? It's just mouth music to get yourself in office. But fingers crossed that it does happen because imagine what's going to come out. Imagine what we're going to discover and what we're going to learn. I cannot wait for one. Let me know what you guys think though down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump scare the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, I will spook you later. Peace.